brothers and sisters, generals, family, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, I always say salute, and we are live, and we are back, alive and breathing, and back to conquer another day, another year, and another decade. Never forget that. And I always salute and thank those for riding along with the brother. As you'll hear me say from time to time, time again and again, we are leaders and teachers with a student spirit. We are never followers. Remember, we're getting rid of that dang on narrative. And welcome to another book session. And I did say I was going to do these more. And my son and I, Lord Lamont, look for the more father and son discussions. And he and I will be doing book sessions also. Just haven't got around to it, but we'll still be doing our, our motivational speaking and our dialoguing on ways of the world, hip hop, our personal lives, just having a father and son discussion. So look for more of that. And my son, Ethan, you'll hear his voice on the mic. And he's been calling in when we do podcasts. I got to get him to speak, and my other children. I get mixed up and, get in a zone. And sometimes things slip my mind, but that's why we do things to sharpen our mind, right? And that's brother, sister, younger or older, family member. So, and I honor thy ancestors who fought so very hard to get many of us in a great divine space that we are in. The righteous generals, brother or sister, that sacrificed everything to get us where we are. I mean, the real one, the righteous ones. And, this is, like I said, this is episode 5. And the last episode of the Contender, which was by Robert Lipsyte, don't forget that. Robert Lipsyte is the book. And he's made many books. And as I said, reading is good for our cognitive functions. Reading keeps our mind sharp, memory. Best way we can. We stay at it, and keep our body sharp. Because, as I always like to say, we as beings, we never know what's down the road. But that great divine always knows. So if you feel a divine, something divine within your soul, cling to that, and it's just something you can't explain. Go with it, don't question it. If it's something righteous, you feel something in your spirit, it wakes you up in the morning. And speaking of the morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time zone one is in. But mornings are best because it's the most quiet. It's when half the world is just waking up or still asleep. So that's what's wonderful about mornings. And as we all know, most people who have finally reached a place of clarity, most of us, brother or sister, especially those of us that are teachers or creators or, just in life or online or in the world online, doesn't matter. Just if you have a creative spirit, that divine will touch us in the morning, because that's when our mind is the most fresh. Between 4 and 7, usually when those creative thoughts will enter. At least this is what I experience. And we go with that, and a lot of times we don't get right up, as I heard a brother say, marinate on those thoughts we get in the morning, because I always incorporate other teachers that I have learned from and got jewels from, and it's embedded in one's soul, as I like to say. We learn from a teacher. Depending on what kind of preacher it is, we only feel good from a preacher. No, we got to learn from a teacher, because a real like-minded brother or sister that's a educated and life experienced teacher, their teachings stick with you forever. And I can say I'm a prime example of others teachings I've listened to. I'm to my real brothers and sisters that really help catapult a brother's thinking, and change old thinking. Because, man, when you can change your mindset, when we can change our mindset and renew it and do better things and miss distractions and getting caught up in the swirling of the world, we become a superhero of our lives. We'll be our own heroes, not this shit we see on TV. So, and we start tapping into our gifts, like I say, it's 1 trillion billion gifts out there in that universe. Just got to reach out and grab it or manifest it. If it's a lot of us carry gifts within, it's just a matter of tapping into it. And there are many gifts. It's not sized down to a few. There are many. This world will make it seem like we have a limit on our gifts. That's a lie. It's not. We have many gifts, especially melanated brothers and sisters. We just have a different magnetism than other cultures, or racist, whatever you want to call us. That's just facts. It is what it is. We got to learn to know the truth and live with the truth and find out, come up with solutions to add to humanity and or culture to make things better. Because that's the whole reason a lot of us began this journey, is to leave this world better than it was when we came in it. Any way we can. Stop the judging of each other. Who got this? Who got that? Who got numbers? How many subscribers we got? Skirt! It's all about that pure spirit within. The pure as we can get it. None of us are perfect, but we can damn sure have perfect intention. So that's, I'm always gonna give a message, to my listeners, and something inspiring, because there were those that inspired me. So again, salute to the generals that join in, family, brother or sister, younger or older. And welcome to another book session. And as you see on my banner, I'm always in the sky. It'll be over buildings or mountains or in the sun. You'll see the sun. As I said, I love sunrises, sundowns, and sun up. I love sunrises. So you always see thumbnails and banners or videos, whether it's an isolated picture or a video of over the buildings, or it'll be in the sky or mountains or the sun or the clouds. It'll be something like that, because it's a representation of keeping our mind elevated and always, rising up level after level after level. Because as we all say, the real like-minded teachers that are generals, salute, the levels never stop. Until when? Until we transition. So I would say be as good as we can on this planet, and good will come. Because when we seek righteousness, righteousness will come. That's a fact. So, but of course, it's not easy on this journey, is it? We have to go through the measures, the layers, the human errors, the past traumas, and dealing with stuff deep in the core of our soul. All the things that our great teachers in the past have talked about, and current, brother or sister, younger or older, because it's the gift that keeps on giving when we finally get to the core. All right, so let's get to this episode 5 of the Contender. And the last one I did was that I made 2 episode 4s. It was by mistake. So really this would be episode 6, but we're going to say 5. And I'll put both of the episode 4s in the end screen. I did make a mistake. We do that, and that's when we grow. When we learn from our mistakes, life becomes lessons, not traumatic and drama anymore. When we become wise, takes work though. But when we get there, as I tell my son, Lord Lamont, salute. We know when we know. And when we finally connect with that great divine, just let it flow, brothers and sisters. Go explore even more in the world and in our mind, because traveling is good too. My son and I talked about that when I was married. My ex-wife name was Fatima, which is a beautiful name, by the way. And she used to travel a lot, and she passed that, it made me want to travel a lot. So when I was with her, I got to see a little bit. Haven't been everywhere, but I've been a few places, and it's wonderful, to see a few things, And so let's get to the book, The Contender, which this book, the characters in this book are from New York. And sometimes I have cities and buildings on my banner, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's New York that's on the banner, which connects to the book, because the characters in the book, I do believe, that the story, because it's a real life event, this book, The Contender, and I think it was in New York, if I'm not mistaken. But there are other cities mentioned in the book, and I'm gonna bring those up to speed. The characters are Alfred, Major, Hollis, Sinus, and Henry. And I think I said Alfred. I'll say it again. Alfred. Alfred is the guy that's kind of going through things. And then we got the bully guys. I'll say they're bullies, at least in the book. Major, Hollis, and Sonny are the bullies of the book. And when I left off the last episode, those 3 guys jumped Alfred. And James is another individual in the book. James is Alfred's best friend, and how they bonded and became friends. Alfred's mother passed away, and James' dad left him and never came back. So that's how they bonded and became friends. They like childhood friends. So Alfred worked at this place that had an alarm, I think he worked at the gym, if I'm not mistaken. An alarm went off, and he didn't know that the alarm was not off or something like that, and James triggered it, and the cops ended up getting him. And Major, Hollis, and Sonny thought Alfred was the reason James got caught by the police. So just bringing those up to speed that listen to a brother in this book, Contender. So when I last left off, Alfred had just got jumped and beat up by Major, Sonny, and Hollis. And he lives with his auntie now. I think it was Aunt Pearl. And they beat him down and he made his way back to the house. And I'm gonna start off where I left off. She was crying at the side of the bed, praying for Alfred, telling him it was gonna be all right. And she was asking him what happened, and he was lying about it. Said he fell over a fence, so on and so forth. So that's what was going on in the last episode. So I'm gonna start off where she began to cry softly, and I'm gonna start a little bit about after she asked him what happened. All right, here we go, brothers and sisters. The Contender, episode 5. Thank those for coming in. I appreciate you. May that great divine come in your life. Make our families prosperous. I'm stuttering. My family to your family, prosperous. All right, here we go. This is Aunt Pearl of Alfred, those individuals I just named. All right, and we're on page 19. Let's go. She shook her head, her hands again on his aching face. Because remember, they had beat him up, as I said. He had bruises and stuff all over his face. All right. Aching face. Oh, Alfred, it's like you're my own son. I know you try so hard. You so good. I know it ain't easy living here. Someday, we're going to move away, Alfred. This is Aunt Pearl talking to Alfred, which is her nephew. Alfred and she began to cry softly because she was sad about him getting beat up. All right. On down a little further. Remember, this is page 19, and we're in the chapter 2. After a while, she rose. She was on the side of the bed talking to him because she was on the side of the bed kneeling down praying over him. All right. After a while, she rose and smoothed the front of her cotton dress. I got to go to work now, Alfred. Be back about 8 tonight. You rest. There's some food by the bed. You eat something right now. She paused at the door and forced a smile because she was sad and weeping for him getting beat up and going through hard times where they moved, which I think was in New York. Okay, somewhere in New York, and forced a smile weakly. He waved back and slipped again into sleep because he was hurt from getting jumped. It was noon when he awoke again. His head felt clear. The pain in his arms and legs seemed to have eased. Biting carefully on an aching teeth. Remember, he got jumped. They beat him up. They beat him up pretty bad, too. All right. He ate. We're going on to page 20. He ate the bread and cheese and Bellany she had left by the bed and drank some of the milk. I think that might have been his cousin. Some of the milk, now warm. Street sounds floated up through the open window. Children yelling. The thud of a rubber ball against the pavement. 4 voices singing, "Hey baby, you're number 1. Your cars, you're number 1. Your cars honking. Saturday strollers out of their way." Far off, he heard a police siren. Knife through the street noise. He felt it in his belly. James was in jail. Remember, James was the one that got caught, that triggered the alarm. And Hollis, Sonny, and Major beat him up over that. They thought it was because of him that James went to jail. That's his best friend, when I was just talking about at the beginning. All right, here we go. He burrowed deeper into the bed. He was listening to all the noises in the city, and when he heard the cop car, he thought about his friend James. It was his fault letting it slip about the money in the cash register. His fault again for not remembering about the new burglar alarm. Nice bed, soft and safe, away from all of them, he thought. Major and Hollis, remember I was just talking about them, those individuals. Major and Hollis out on the street looking to get him. Wow. The Epsteins, that's where he worked. They'll be asking questions on Monday morning. They know James is my best friend. Was my best friend. No, partner, nothing. Stay in bed. Man, man, curl up like a baby. Curl up like a baby. So he was laying, this is all the thoughts he was having while he was laying in the bed. Close your eyes. Make the world go away. The big white world full of cans to stack and floors to sweep and pails of garbage to drag out back. Big job. Maybe James was right to try to get some of that money. Oh, so James did rob it. He robbed the place. Only wrong to get caught. Just stay in bed, man, until you're 18. Then join the army. No, stay in bed forever. He made himself get up. Then he was talking to himself when I was just reading that a few sentences before. Now he was in the bed thinking out loud. Okay, he made himself get up. Then pushing his long, wiry legs over the edge of the bed, standing on the little. Okay, we just left 20. We on page 21, chapter 2. All right. Pushing his long, weary legs over the edge of the bed, standing on the little throw rug until his quivering stopped. He went into the bathroom and patted cold water on his face before he looked at himself in the mirror. So he was like thinking hard, about his life and what he'd been through, and his buddy James in jail. So I guess his buddy James did rob the place. The name of the place is called Epstein's, which is weird. He went into the bathroom and patted cold water on his face before he looked at himself in the mirror. There were specks of dried blood on his hair. Remember, they beat him up real bad. His left eye was swollen and bloodshot. Dang. His bony face was puffy, especially around the jaw and lips. There was a long scratch down the side of his nose and another high on his right cheek. That's what it say. Oh, another scratch high on his right cheek. Not so bad. Looked worse. That time I really fell off the stone fence. He grinned. Major and Hollis, for all their talk, they can't even rob a store or beat up a guy right. Oh, so Major and Hollis, I guess they robbed it with James or something, because they were Major, Hollis, and Sonny. Like I said, they were the bullies of the neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken. They can't even rob a store or beat up a guy right. Just punks. So he feeling better about himself. He looking in the mirror, thinking about all this. Then he remembered that James was in jail, and the grin disappeared. Yeah, he thought about his friend James. He walked into the front room and sat down on the worn couch that opened into a double bed for Charlene and the twins. Those are his cousins. He turned on the television set. A slim, pretty white woman was standing in a shiny kitchen as big as Aunt Pearl's apartment, telling her tall, handsome husband how worried she was about Billy. This is a TV program he was watching on TV. He was spending all his free time in the garage, and he wouldn't let anybody in except Gus, the dog. The husband puffed on his pipe and said he'd look into it, dear, and went outside, walking across a big lawn and under trees. He knocked on the garage door. Billy yelled. Take 21, we're going to 22. There, Billy, he yelled there. Dad yelled back. The FBI, and there was tiny sounding laughter. Billy yelled, just a minute, Dad, and there he was, about 14, scrambling around trying to hide the robot he was building. Yeah, sure. And Alfred snapping off the TV. Yeah, sure, Alfred snapping off the TV. Okay, that's the program he was watching on TV. He went back into his aunt's bedroom, which is Aunt Pearl. The four voices on the street were getting louder. Number 1 on my top 10. But as soon as Alfred's head touched the pillow, he was falling again into sleep. He was falling again into sleep. The third time he woke, it was dusk, and occasional peal of drunken laughter drowned out the the hoarse yells of tired children, and the stoop chatter, and the muted noise of a dozen transistors. Remember, they had like transistors was a thing back then. This is back around the 1960s through the 70s, somewhere in that era. On different transistors on different stations, he got up and went into the kitchen, enjoying the coolness of the cracked linoleum under his bare feet. The fold away bed he usually slept in was tucked behind the refrigerator. He wondered if Aunt Pearl had slept in it or stayed up all night. The sharp blue slacks he had worn were in a corner next to Aunt Pearl's box of dusting rags. They were shredded. He put on a pair of clean cotton pants and the blue tennis shirt with the little alligator on the pocket that Miss Elverson had given him for Christmas. He slipped, okay, that was page we on 23. He slipped on the black loafers that Jeff had outgrown. Cousin Jeff. He hearing enough about him tomorrow. Cousin Jeff, or another cousin in the family. He let himself out of the apartment quietly, so quietly that he surprised two drug addicts fumbling in the hall toilet. They looked up, startled, then saw it was only Alfred, and went back to their spoons and needles. Wow. Alfred experienced a lot. Alfred was going through it. Holy crap. That's what I say. Books can be interesting when you get into it. Okay. Then saw it was only Alfred and went back to their spoons and needles. Holy shit. Excuse my language. For a moment, he thought they were lucky. They'd be getting out of the world for a while. But then he remembered all the old looking sick junkies he saw on the streets, hunched up, desperate for a fix. Major and Sonny been looking for you, said a little boy on the stoop. Alfred nodded, trying to look cool. He went a few, remember Sonny, let me see, Major and Sonny are the bullies. They the ones that they beat him up. It's a page I read where they beat him down to the ground and they was pounding him with fists. That's on the last episode. So they beat him up pretty good because they think he's the reason James got caught. I didn't know Major and Sonny robbed the Epstein store or whatever. All right, Major and Sonny looking for you, said a little boy on the stoop. Alfred nodded, trying to look cool. He went a few blocks out of his way so he could walk down an avenue where he knew he wouldn't meet Major. There were big cats. These were two big guys too that were muscle bound. They were like supposedly supposed to be some big guys. All right. They were big cats. They were big cats there that even Major was afraid of. Oh, it's talking about cats we talking about a cat in the neighborhood? Okay, keep going. Out to get him for something or other. What are you talking about? Another guy. The cars were still cruising. Guys with their Saturday night girls. Guys looking for Saturday night girls. Guys with their Saturday night girls. Guys looking for Saturday night girls. Live music floated out of an upstairs apartment. And there was bursting of laughter. Alfred jammed his hands into the pockets and walked faster. Half a dozen boys his age lounged on a corner, and one of them called to him. Page 23. We're going over to page 24. He just put his head down and walked on. Couples strolled by, arm in arm. He looked up once and saw Henry. Henry was a friend of his, across the street, dragging his bad leg and smiling if being crippled was the best thing in the world. Probably coming back from the gym. And I think that's where he worked. The gym. Thought Alfred. Coming back from the gym, thought Alfred. Maybe tonight, Mr. Donatelli let him wash the fighter's socks. Then he remembered that Henry had brought him home, and he dropped to his knees behind a parked car when Passers-by started at him. He pretended he was searching for a lost coin. He waited until Henry had turned the corner. He didn't feel like thanking anyone for anything tonight. He crossed. Henry was the one that helped him, that dragged him up to the house when Honey, Silas, when Major and Hollis beat him up. Henry's the one that dragged him to the house when he was beat down because he had to crawl to the house. All right, he crossed the street, and for some reason he was avoiding Henry. I guess he felt bad. All right, he crossed the street and started down a block he hardly ever walked on. A block of low apartment building, a storefront, church, a deli, I don't know what that say, a pawn shop, and on the corner, there's a bunch of buildings he was passing by. On the corner, a bar above the bar. Let me see. Yeah, a bar above the bar on a dusty plate glass window, where the faded letters, Dr. Arthur Corey, dentist, above that on a dustier window, and even more faded letters, Donatelli's gym. A light was burning. He stood on the corner for a long time, looking up at the dim light until his neck hurt and his eyes watered. A jukebox was blaring through the open door of the bar, but he barely heard it. Donatelli's gym, the door leading up to the dentist's office, and the gym was sagging off its hinges, half open. Beyond it was darkness. Donatelli's gym. Joe Louis had worked out there once, which was a boxer. Everybody know who Joe Louis is. He was a boxer. Because remember, this book is about a boxer, if I'm not mistaken. He remembered his father talking about how he had gone over to watch maybe Sugar Ray Robinson. Remember, there's a lot of boxers mentioned in this book. Sugar Ray Robinson too. Okay. He remember he had gone over to watch maybe Sugar Ray Robinson too. They weren't no slaves, and they didn't have to bust into anybody's grocery store. They had it. So the Epsteins that got robbed earlier in the book, that was a grocery store, I take it. They didn't have to bust into anybody's grocery store. They made it. They got to be somebody, he thought, about going into the darkness. So he was going into this abandoned gym, and he was still thinking about his life and what he just went through, and what's in his future. So this is what's going on now. He like walking through the city thinking about things, and he avoiding people because he got a lot on his mind. All right. He in a dark abandoned gym right now. All right. He thought about going into the darkness, up to the dim light on the third floor. Maybe if James was around, we could both. Then he stuttered. He turned to walk away and saw the familiar muscular figure moving toward him with that rolling swagger. Major, widely, Alfred bolted across the street. So he saw Major. Remember, Major's the one that's the big swole dude that's a bully, sidestepping a taxi cab by inches, ignoring the horns and curses of braking drivers. So he was trying to run and get away from a Major because they had beat him up earlier in the book. Remember, I said. On the other side, he glanced over his shoulder and stopped. It wasn't Major after all. So he thought it was Major. It wasn't Major. It wasn't Major after all. Slave always going to be running, Alfred, and running alone. He waited until the light turned green for him, and he strode back across the street up to the door. A quivering chill ran up his legs, and his teeth began to grind, and a ball of ice formed in the pit of his stomach. And he took a breath and plunged through the door into the darkness, a choking, musty darkness and stank of stale wine. And we're going to read a little bit more, and then we're going to end it. But Major and them beat him up so bad, I guess he saw somebody and thought it was Major and started running, and it wasn't even him. He just had a lot on his mind. All right, we on page 26. And antiseptic and sweat and urine. Damn. Let me see, I think that's right. Antiseptic, that's what it says. Let me see. We're gonna start. Let me see. Musty darkness and the stink of stale wine and antiseptic, if I read that right. ANTISEPITIC. And sweat and urine and linement. He hit the first step. So I guess it was stanking when he walked into the building, feeling it sag under him. It was an old rundown gym. But he kept going up wooden steps, worn so smooth his loafers slipped backwards. But the chilly legs were getting warmer now. But he was cold, I guess. But one of let's see, put one after another. Alfred planting, huffing, low steps, but hundreds of them. And it must be the big stairway, thousands of them in the darkness. So he walking in a dark abandoned building, going up these steps to this gym. Darkness, the stairs so steep he sometimes fell to all fours. Wow, scrambling higher, past the sign. Dr. Corey passed the sign. Gym, third floor, faster until his breath tangled in his ribs, higher until his throat was dry, faster, higher until a door loomed before him. Gym, a faint light leaked through a crack, and so a light seeped through was shining through the door. He hurled himself up at it, paused, took another breath, and plunged into a large mercury room. Yeah, a short, rocky man with crew cut white hair looked up. His pale face was smooth and hard. I'm Alfred Brooks, he said, gasping. I come to be a fighter. The stocky man did not smile or change his expression. Okay, Alfred Brooks, he said, take off your shirt. And we're going to stop right there because this is how he became a boxer. It's talking about all the things he's been. This is Alfred. And that was page 26, and that was the end of chapter 2. And we'll be back. At the next one will be episode 6 of the Contender. And we'll start with chapter 3. So, as I said, I wanted to do these book sessions. And it's, as you can see, if you're listening, and forgive me for fumbling a little bit of it and mispronouncing words, but, I do that. But yeah, but I'm sure you get the gist of it. Whoever's listening, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view. Like I said, it's good to read, and not just any kind of book. Books with knowledge, information, stuff that can help us too. And as I said, this is a book my goddaughter gave me, Skylar, which is doing well. And salute to all my biological children and my godchildren, and salute to one's family and all of our families. Pull those good things from our families, but. This is an interesting book, and as you can see, if you're listening to it, if you can kind of comprehend some of the things that I read and said, you can see that Alfred going through it. And that's why I always name the characters, because to get those involved, get into the book, you get to know it's not characters either. These are real individuals. And as I said, there's a lot of known names, iconic names in this book. Mike Tyson's name was mentioned. Dick Gregory, may he rest in peace and in power. His name is mentioned in this book. Muhammad Ali, rest in peace and in power. His name is mentioned in this book. And as you can see, Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis. I think that's what I read. Yeah, so I think that's the name I read in there. If I didn't, forgive me if I didn't say the name right. But yeah. And as you can see, it's about boxing. And a brother's platform that I listen to, he's like passionate about boxing, so I know he could appreciate this book. And if I'm not mistaken, I do think this was in New York where Alfred was having all these experiences. And as you can see, and he was going through a lot, and I can tell it's building up to how he became a boxer, and it's wonderful. So just ride along with the brother, and see what else happens, because books can be very interesting. And as I said, folks, we don't always choose books. Sometimes they choose us. And it's good to explore things in our mind and read. Of course, we explore in the world. It's good to explore, period, because that's how we get to those levels. That's how we learn things, and have those aha moments like, whoa, it's beautiful, when we can tap in to that creative part of ourselves, and manifest whatever gifts we have, because there are plenty. There's enough gifts to go around for everybody. There's no reason for no one to be beefing or fighting over shit. It's ridiculous, you know. So this has been another book session. As I said, thank those for coming in, you know, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view. And thank those for coming in. I'll be back with the next one. Will be episode 6. And remember, reading is good for our cognitive functions. Look it up. You know, it's good for our memory, you know, especially as we get up in age, you know. Let's become a part of our wise power that we have developed. You know, let's not just say we're intelligent. Let's be intelligent. Integrity is a wonderful thing, you know, and do things to teach people, you know, the best way we can, you know. Self-therapy is wonderful if we can do it, you know, but we have to take the time, pay attention to ourselves. As I always say, set that tone every morning, you know, get our mind right, meditate, go deep into meditation, into those wonderful divine things that's in us, and pull it out and show the world, you know. And it don't always have to be in the limelight. Remember, we do it for that great divine. That great divine will put us in the limelight. So, you know, I'm always going to give something positive, you know, and get anything positive out of what I say or my son say or anything you hear on this channel. Take that positive energy, pass it on to someone else. So I hope those enjoyed the book, and I'll have more book sessions. Like I said, look for more music from L'Oreal Lyrical. May she rest in peace and in power. More music from myself and Laura Lamont and other artists. You know, as I said, I always like to bring up, you know, the music I do and my son do. It's not our beats for now. We're working on our own beats, though. They come from Rat Fame. It's an app that's in Play Store. I always got to put that disclaimer out there, you know. We're just about putting out good music, not trying to get paid or nothing like that, because like I said, they're not my beats anyway. But as I said, I'm going to converse with artists on Rat Fame and let them know that I want to, you know, debut some of their music, play some of their music on one's channel, because I want to get some other artists on here too, you know, because my son and I, Lord Lamont, we care about hip-hop. We really do. Now, we might not be the best artist or the best rapper, but we love hip-hop to the core with a passion, real talk. So that was just a little something I want to speak on, to look forward in the future, to look forward to in the future on this channel, and looking to grow, and, you know, not trying to outshine nobody, looking to stand with other brothers and sisters that are righteous content creators. So, all right, this has been another book session, episode 5, The Contender, and just stay divinely righteous out there. Keep that discernment sharp, my brothers and sisters. Generals, current subscriber, new subscriber, brothers and sisters, families, generals all over the world. May we please keep that ultimate peace in our part of the world, wherever we are right now. Salute.